So you were the more of a man than me. You stayed up and watched the game, and I had a long day.
Well, I took a nap and woke up halfway through the second half or first half. But yeah, 9:30 tip Central Time is insane. I mean, that's 10:30 Eastern Time for our Cyclone fans.
Your 9-year-old grandmother made it.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Your 9-year-old grandmother made it through the whole game. She texted me at 12:02 a.m. and said that was her shoot or whatever. She was upset about the game. Yeah, I couldn't sleep. I knew I wouldn't be able to sleep either way. So if I watched the game and it didn't go well, I knew I wouldn't sleep. And I went to bed early. I woke up at 3 a.m. I said, I got to know what happened. And of course I did that. And then I couldn't go back to sleep. So then I got up the next morning and watched it. But
yeah, I stared at the ceiling until 1:30, just pissed off. Yeah, we'll obviously get into it. It just was just like what we said before the game. All we wanted was final 5 minutes to be within a bucket and have a shot to win, and we really executed really well the last 5 minutes of regulation. And it just sucks. Again, a missed free throw is the reason why something goes to overtime, and we've seen that just too many times as Cyclone fans. Not that I'm blaming Joshua. It just sucks. That's what happened. And I said to you yesterday, I wish he would have missed both, because I think they don't get as good a look if they're scrambling with 2 seconds left. But
yeah, Fran is he was a pretty good coach. He didn't have a great career as a coach. I've got a story about him I've told on here before about when we lived in New Mexico and he was in New Mexico. But he really understands the game. I mean, he was saying that maybe we should miss it, and he said at one point in regulation, somebody's going to be a hero tonight. But we were not respecting Caleb Love at all. I mean, we just let him stand out there and shoot forever and miss. I mean, what was he, 1 for 11?
1 for 11 for the half-court shot, which, I mean, I've watched him a couple times this year, and he shoots a ton of threes and doesn't make many, but of course it takes a 60-foot heave to get him going. And then obviously he did what he did in overtime. But yeah, I mean, we had a buddy that was there, so the environment was awesome. It's fun to play in games like that now to have Arizona in the conference. And it's hilarious that, I mean, that game is way bigger for them than it would have been for us. I mean, I don't think our guys would have even stormed the court if we won that game. It would have just been business as usual. And I think, I mean, it just shows that we're really good. I mean, they're not ranked, but they've played really well in Big 12 play, and our guys really executed well down the stretch. And then in overtime, I think our legs just were gone. I mean, Curtis playing 80 minutes in 2 days is just not sustainable. And I don't know. I think a couple things I took away is I think our down the stretch lineup with Jefferson, Watson, and our 3 guards we can really put the clamps on people because we switch everything. And Demarion is such a good on-ball defender. And I mean, how many times have you seen someone take him baseline and then he swats it out of bounds, especially on smaller guards?
And with and this is not, I'm not blaming him at all, but I mean, if he makes that steal at the end,
I know.
Game over.
Yeah.
Curtis doesn't foul the guy on the rebound. It's game over.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many little plays that happen at the end and Curtis was just shot. I mean, I told you, the 12-minute mark, when they finally get it on ESPN and he's at the free throw line, he is gassed. And you can tell if somebody's tired or not by how long it takes them to catch their breath.
Yeah.
And if you watch him shoot that free throw, he never catches his breath.
Yeah.
And then he gets subbed out right away. So, yeah, I'm really worried that, if we're going to rely on those guys playing that many minutes, it's going to wear on us. I mean, and so I don't know what the answer is. I mean, I don't think you can Demarion, I think you could have played Demarion more minutes. But
he only played 11 minutes.
Yeah, I know.
He has been incredible. I mean, I think he is our probably second best rebounder, if not our best rebounder. He's a great defender. He doesn't hurt us offensively. He's not a guy you throw it to and let him make a move like Jefferson, but he cuts well. That baseline cut that led to a layup was a big basket down the stretch, and he's hit a couple corner threes. So at least he's making them that people have to at least respect him. And I just think he's just so athletic. I mean, he's our best athlete, if we're being honest. Especially in the front court. I mean, he just does so many things well, and we at times Jackson is just a little too slow to get to the ball, the rebound, or get to his guy to block out. I mean, they had one guy had like 6 offensive rebounds, all were when he was guarding him. And Watson, you just don't see that with Watson. So we've said it before, I'm a big Watson fan, and I think he needs to play more. The thing is, it doesn't really help us with the guard minutes unless you put him at the 3, which would be interesting, I think.
He can play 3.
I think so. I mean, you do Tame and Keyshawn, Watson, Jefferson, Jackson. That's a huge lineup, and
he's money from that 3 from the corner right now. So I mean, I think we need to ride that.
Year, he's not.
Yeah, no, but he's shooting it with confidence. I mean, just making 1 makes him honor him. I mean, yeah.
And our buddy that was there watched him warm up, and he said Watson was money from the corner warming up. He just said he made a ton in a row. So.
Wow.
I mean, confidence is a big thing. And on the other side of the coin, you look at Heisey, he's not confident right now, and he is really struggling. And that's something with Milan out that we couldn't have happen, because we can't have Curtis and Keyshawn and Taman play 40 minutes. But right now, Heisey's in there. It's 4-on-5 offensively. He gives us.
But okay. So, but I know you guys are all over Heisey, but he took 2 shots. It's not like he's going out there like Caleb Love and missing 11 threes for crying out loud. I mean, he's not even shooting the ball. He should probably shoot it more.
But from a scheme wise, if he's not shooting it, the defense doesn't have to guard him.
Right. He needs to shoot it more. So
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, but he's not confident right now, which it would be hard to be confident when you're 1 for your last 35 or whatever he is. I mean, on the year, he shot at 33 threes, and he's made 8 on the year.
So what's he, like 28%?
So he's 1 for 16 in Big 12 play. That's just not, unfortunately, that's not going to cut it. And we just need it, especially with Milan out. With Milan out, we have to have guys that just shoot it.
Our bench took 5 shots.
Yeah, it's a problem.
I mean, Name took 5 shots.
I know, that's what I'm saying. But my point is that my concern is the way we guard. Our guards are going to be dead by March.
That's what I said. Yeah, right. I mean, it's the thing that we've got going for us is that if you go back and listen to Jake Sullivan interviews or Paul Shirley interviews about our run the year after the Elite 8. And when we, unfortunately, when I was in Boise and watched the Hampton debacle, they've said that they were exhausted.
Yeah.
But it was because of them getting road in practice all of the time.
Well, they also weren't very deep.
Right. Well, we're only playing 8.
That's what I'm saying.
Mean, the thing that we've got going for us is that TJ, I think, is aware of they can't get worn out mentally.
Yeah,
and so he's not. So if you watched what when Keyshawn went in, and he got the shot blocked, which was a foul. I hate to say it, but when you go in there, he drove in, you can see TJ say, "Good play, good play." He wasn't screaming at him saying, you can't do that or anything like that. I mean, and the other thing, I watched the post-game press conference last night. Caleb Love was pretty complimentary, except he said something about Curtis that I don't think Curtis is going to like. So I'm kind of looking forward to the rematch. And then, but their coach said, he was just smiling the whole time. He goes, it took a miracle for us to get there, and and they're really good and all this kind of stuff. And then he ends up by saying, and they're going to have something for us when we get to Ames.
Oh, we're going to beat them by 25, and that crowd is going to be pissed off because he's right. It took a miracle. That's a 1 in 1,000 shot. Credit to him or whatever. I am not a big Caleb Love fan. I'm
not either.
He knows where the cameras are. He goes right up to him, and he's just so arrogant. And for someone that was 1 for 11 from 3, and that Caleb Grill took his lunch 2 years ago, he's making a lot of money and good for him, but whatever. He is public enemy number 1 now, and I can't wait for him to come to Ames and go 1 for 20 from 3. And
well, he's a friend of Keyshawn.
They're dissimilar to Kansas. I respect Kansas. Kansas at times can be a little arrogant, but they've kind of earned it. They won a national title within the last 5 years, but Bill Self is not arrogant. Bill Self is just.
Did you see what he said about Hunter Dickinson? So after the TCU game, TCU and Hunter Dickinson were fighting for the ball. And he didn't, I don't know what he said word for word, but he wasn't real happy with Hunter. And Hunter was just standing there holding the ball like a seventh grader. And there was like three TCU. And so the one comment that I took away is Bill Self said something to the effect that if you think that is a smart thing to do, you don't know ball, is what he said. So I think, and after last night, they should have got beat by UCF. I mean,
Kansas got a little help from the ref, sounds like, but
yeah,
I guess my point is that the more I mature into a basketball fan, I really respect Kansas, and I really just like how Bill Self coaches and his players. They handle themselves well. Arizona, there's just this arrogance that I just don't get, especially this year. I mean, they're second place in the Big 12 now, but they were 4-5 at one point, and they're just not. I mean, they're not the most talented team. Like, we're more talented and a better team than them, 100%. Like, we play them 10 times, we beat them 8.
I take a Waka, I tell you that.
Yeah, he plays hard. He's a good player. I'm not dogging them talent-wise. It's just the way they carry themselves, and that their freshman was really arrogant and was chirping Taman, and that's what I really like about our guys. Is our guys aren't talking to the crowd. They're not talking to their players, probably aside from Keyshawn and Curtis, maybe a little bit, but we just handle our business and play really hard. And the thing is too, Curtis was definitely tired. He played 40 minutes against Arizona State. Keyshawn, at the end of regulation, was still playing hard and getting to the hoop as much as he wanted. So we're in good shape. It's just these Saturday, Monday games are tough turnarounds. But on the other side, now we have a full week to get rested for K-State, which will be nice. And my hope is, especially with these Saturday, Mondays, that we have some games at home. Let's just kill K-State, and then let's get some other guys some minutes. Let's get Noyes 5 minutes, just not necessarily to get Noyes a chance to play, just to give Keyshawn and Curtis a rest. Or Taman, who has a freaking broken thumb, for goodness sakes.
That finally broke. We've known that for a while, and they finally said that even on the broadcast. And what can you say about him? I mean, he was holding his thumb, and I think the other teams. I told you this yesterday. I think the other teams know it, and so when he's holding the ball, when he's holding the ball, pivoting with his right shoulder pointed towards the defender, they're reaching in and slapping that hand.
Yeah. So I wouldn't put it past Arizona. I hate Arizona now. They can kick rocks for all I care. But
and the lady saying "Welcome to the McHale Center" or whatever you said. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, the McHale Center wasn't why they won.
No,
their crowd didn't bother us at all, and our guys. I mean, the thing is too, these losses in January only help us. Like, I think we're probably not going to win the Big 12 title unless we beat Houston at Houston, which we can do. I think we're better than Houston, to be honest. Houston offensively sometimes is a disaster, but they're just so tough, and their bigs are so good, and they defensively they're the best team in the country. They're obviously well coached. Kelvin Sampson's incredible, but I think our ceiling is higher than theirs. And but I think at this point, we just have to be, our only focus and priority is to be ready to go in March. Yeah. We have to be fresh. We have to be healthy, which Milan will be back in March for sure. So we just need to keep playing as well as we can. I think, but the thing is too, we have some opportunities to change some things. That's what losses do. I think that kind of makes you look in the mirror a little bit and see some adjustments. And honestly, one adjustment I would suggest, obviously I'm not coaching or anything. I'm not as smart as TJ and their staff, but
they're not calling you
against K-State. I would give Heisey 25 minutes and say, hey, I want you to shoot it 12 times. I don't care if it goes in, but we've got to break the slump, and we've got to just show the opposing defenses that you're a threat. And 25 minutes, then we finally get Curtis some rest, because Curtis is just burning at both ends right now. And Taman too. My goodness. I don't want them to be banged up in March. And I would say that's priority number one. 1A is it would be nice to get a 1 seed. I mean, 1 seeds for sure have the easiest road to the Sweet 16. And Thomas was saying too, if we get a couple upsets, maybe you play a double-digit seed in the Sweet 16, and then you're looking at an Elite 8 trip. But I saw one bracketology from yesterday that had Houston as a 3 seed, which seems insane. If you're a 2 seed, you have to play Houston in the Sweet 16. That would not be great.
Yeah.
But then again, Houston I think is vulnerable, because I mean, if they catch a team that can shoot, they sometimes struggle to score. So that's why I would be, if I were to bet, I would say they're more likely to get upset early. But again, March is the craziness that it always is. So it's really hard to predict what's going to happen. But I love this team. And I think this is our best shot to make a Final Four since that Tinsley Pfizer team. So we just have to, and I think TJ's aware of it just because, I mean, you think about 2 years ago, that game against Pittsburgh, my goodness, when we scored 40 points and it took a miracle to get to 40, we just can't be dead when it comes tournament time. So,
and we're heading that we're going down that road. I mean, when you've got the problem with this past weekend is the fact that we were in Arizona for that long, because that Saturday, Monday is a tough turnaround. Obviously, they expended a lot of energy at Arizona State, but then you don't get to sleep in your own bed. You know, they're in Arizona. So even Taman made a comment in the post-game press conference about the weather, you know, so I'm sure they were, you know, kind of wanting to be outside as much as they can. This weekend is again another Saturday, Monday. However, Saturday night they get to sleep in their own bed.
Right.
And they get to, you know, they don't have to get up super early to get to the gym. So that is a big help heading into going to Lawrence on Monday. So yeah, we need to put the hammer down on Hawkins and those guys at Kansas State and
we just need
some time for these other guys. And Chatfield's hit the wall. I mean, the last couple of games, it looks like he's kind of hit the January wall a little bit, and I'd like to see him get back on track a little bit too.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of a product of the games too. I mean, if he's not giving us a ton, TJ's pretty quick to just pull, and just because it's a tight game, he's kind of always done that. I feel like in tight games, his rotation even tightens a little more. With that being said, I mean, look who's in at crunch time, Demarion Watson. So, I mean, Demarion Watson played almost the last 5 minutes, which I think is right now, Demarion Watson's our 6th best player. He's our best guy off the bench right now, which is just incredible because he really didn't play for 2.5 months. I think the one thing that is different this year, though, because the Big 12 has 28 teams, is our schedule is not as grueling as it was the last 3 years.
I agree. Yeah.
I mean, this is our last Saturday. This weekend is our last Saturday, Monday. And I mean, the thing is, our guys love playing in big arenas, and I think they're going to be ready to go in Allen Fieldhouse on Monday, especially because I don't think Kansas is that good, to be honest. They're not. I think Arizona's better than Kansas. They're more talented.
Oh, yeah, I do too.
I take Bill Self over Tommy Lloyd, but Tommy Lloyd's a good coach too. They defended better than I thought they would, and so I think if we beat Kansas, this Arizona game doesn't really matter in my mind anymore. I mean, you're not expected to win in the road in the Big 12, and it just what's going to kill me the rest of the year is we should have won.
Right.
We're up 2. We're 2 seconds left going to the free throw line. We should have won, and if we win the national title, I can go to bed easy. But it's just, I know, and the thing is too, I know this eats at them, but our guys are pretty good at kind of letting it hurt and then for moving on. I mean, you look at the West Virginia game, and then the next game 2 days later, we scored 108 on UCF. So our guys aren't afraid of responding to losses. And honestly, too, losses in January, like I said, are good learning experiences. Like, I don't want to be learning things in March. I want to learn things now. But like I said, the schedule. So K-State, Kansas this weekend. If we go 2-0, awesome. And then after that, we have TCU, UCF, Cincinnati, who sucks, Colorado. So, I mean, in theory, we can get up big and then get some of these guys off the bench, get JT Rock 4 minutes. I mean, I know like the numbers like us to win by a lot and helps with seeding or whatever, but like our priority right now is our legs, and we just need to give these guys some opportunities. I mean, because, and I sound like a broken record, but Noyes is talented enough to help us. So if he just gets an opportunity and comes in, hits a couple threes, that can open the door for some minutes.
Yeah, and the problem, like I've said, is not his 3-point shooting. I mean, I think everybody knows he can shoot. He just can't turn it over, and he can't. And the turnovers that I remember that he had were live ball turnovers, or whatever, runouts. I mean, that can't happen. But so I just was pulled up on Kansas. Kansas played the game last night without DeJuan Harris.
Is he?
Yeah, he rolled an ankle in practice, so he didn't play. And KJ Adams came back.
Oh, wow.
KJ Adams played with a separated shoulder.
Yeah, I mean, separated shoulder. It's just a pain control thing, but
yeah, but you're still lifting your hand above your head. I mean, it's hard to play basketball. Football's different. I mean, unless you're a receiver, but
yeah,
playing basketball with separated shoulder is not easy.
And he didn't exactly have great touch before that, so.
Right. He's athletic as heck, but
I really like him. He's kind of the heart and soul of that team. He plays really hard, and he's another guy too. I mean, when you play at Kansas, you probably have every right to be arrogant, and they just don't. And I think that's just a testament to what Bill Self does, and I just really, really like that because I think TJ is very similar to that in that regard too, and that's why these coaches it's just nice. Like we can talk about the refs of the Arizona game. There were some questionable calls. The biggest one for me was the possession before Curtis's foul, where their guard just out of control jumps into Taman, who's under the basket. And there was barely any contact. And he throws up the call foul to cut it to 1, which was just total BS. They don't call that foul. We get the rebound, game over.
Yeah, I can't remember that guy's name, but he was pretty bad. Kip Kissinger and then the other guy who I never remember his name, who I think are pretty good. No, it wasn't Tom Eads. I don't even know. I think he might have retired. I haven't seen him forever. But I can't remember the guy. They said it on the broadcast. I was going to write it down, but he was probably one of the oldest ones out there, but he's the one that made that call. And he made that Keyshawn drive. He hit him got hit right on the elbow. I mean, if we're not going to call shooting when you hit somebody in the arm shooting, I mean, I don't know what's going on with the way they're reffing Keyshawn, but he's not getting anything.
No, I know.
I mean, when he drives so hard, he's making some circus shots that probably half of them should be in ones.
Well, I mean, him down the stretch the last 4 minutes was.
Oh gosh, it's crazy.
I'd never seen someone split the horns action and then get to the rim.
He does it a lot.
I know. Yeah,
But so when you do that, the two ball screeners, the guys guarding the screener are taught to hedge that screen.
Right.
And if you can beat your guy 1-on-1, there's nothing between you and the basket.
Right.
And he's doing it. He hasn't even been able to stay in front of him since because they're trying to push him one way or the other. And he crosses them over because his ball skills are so good. Yeah. I thought Caleb Love and him are both, from St. Louis. And I guess Caleb Love referred to him as his boy. So I guess they knew each other in high school. But yeah, Keyshawn is, I think he's frustrated as heck because he's just not getting the call. And speaking of somebody that should shoot it more, I think he needs to shoot more threes. I mean, I just don't think he
had a big one.
Huge.
That deep three, I was just like, he had the ball. I'm like, he's going to shoot it. And it went in.
It hit Starlink on the way down, on the way up because it hit the arch on it was crazy.
I mean, he's not exactly killing it from three. He's shot 52 threes. He's only made 17. Taman's made more threes than him this year. That's kind of crazy.
Taman's probably took more, hasn't he?
Yeah. Taman shot 70. Keyshawn shot 52. Oh, no. Taman shot 62, sorry. Milan's still second in three-point attempts, and he hasn't played in 5 games. So I was looking at the stats for the year. So our leaders in rebounds are Jefferson, Jackson. Guess who's third?
Taman.
Curtis.
Oh, wow.
Jefferson has 162 rebounds, Jackson 100, and then Curtis has 92.
Wow.
That's crazy.
I thought sure it'd be Taman.
Taman is less than Milan.
Interesting.
And Watson's played 4 games and already has 23.
Wow.
And Watson only played 88 minutes all year.
Yeah, no, right. I mean,
he's getting 1 rebound per 4 minutes.
Fran was talking about his DNPs that he's had. So, right. I mean, he's had a ton of them. So, Kansas State beat West Virginia, whatever it was, their last game. So I'm hoping they haven't figured it out. But they beat Cincinnati by 3. They beat Cincinnati by 3, lost to TCU by 1, got hammered by Oklahoma State, got hammered by Houston, lost at home against Texas Tech by 4, lost at Kansas by 10, lost at Baylor by 8, and then beat West Virginia. That was their last one. And then they must play Oklahoma State. Yeah, they play Oklahoma State tonight. And on CBS, I mean, why don't we get those games anymore? We're getting ESPN Plus all the time. The CBS Sports Network is a much better broadcast than ESPN Plus.
They're great. Our last game of the year is on CBS at K-State, and that's the only time. ESPN on Monday again, which would be nice. But
why isn't Big Monday coming to Ames this year?
Well, because the college football playoff went until almost March. And then NFL playoffs have a game on Monday too.
Yeah.
Well,
I really think we need to go 2-0 the next two games. I mean, obviously.
I mean, we just need. I think we're close to. The thing is, I think with college basketball this year, there's definitely tiers, and we're definitely in tier 1. For sure. Like, I think it's honestly us, Auburn, Duke, and then probably Houston. To be honest, they're really, really good.
Yeah.
And the thing is too that the SEC is going to cannibalize itself a little bit. So I think that 4th 1 seed is definitely going to be open. But you got to win at Kansas. I think you got to win at Kansas, win out at home, and then I think if you win at Kansas, win out at home, and then I think the only other loss potentially this year will probably be at Houston. Hopefully, if that's the case,
we win if we can do that and win at Houston.
Yeah, I mean, if we win at Houston, we're for sure 1 seed, and then the Big 12 title's back in play. But the thing is, too, what we learned last year is I don't even want to win the Big 12 tournament this year because it's going to make us tired. And last year we learned it doesn't matter. So,
and it is going to be a war down there. I mean, some of those games should be phenomenal this year, just because of you're going to have teams fighting to get into the tournament. But the talent level is going to be off the charts. It's also harder to get hotels. I mean, hotels right now are just out of sight because of the number of. So I don't know did I talk about that service fee thing on StubHub?
Yeah, it's insane.
Did I say that? Did I talk about that on this?
I don't know.
Yeah, so I had a friend of mine that, shout out to Gus, but he was looking at all session tickets for the Big 12. And he found a lower level, and I know I'm going to script the numbers on this, but I think it was like $1,800 for an all-session ticket, something like that.
A ticket to every game.
Correct, for the Big 12 tournament. And then went to the checkout on StubHub, and the service fee per ticket was $625. He screenshotted it and sent it to me.
Yeah,
I mean, $1,200 in service fees.
I mean, shouldn't there be a way to buy the all-session directly from the Big 12 or the Sprint Center? Like,
he can. But, he can get them because he's a donor. He can get them through the Iowa State, but I think they put him in the upper deck. And so he's trying to get lower levels. And, if I get, I'm not going to go this year because I'm banking on us going to the Sweet 16 or something like this. And there's only so many funds floating around. We got 2 weddings coming up and, a lot of stuff going on. And so, but if you can go down and scalp a ticket in that place, once teams start losing, hotel rooms open up, and you can find some pretty decent tickets. We've had a lot of fun going to that, though. I mean, Deontay Burton dunk and the West Virginia game was fun. I mean,
and last year, am I beating Houston?
Last year, I think I said this last year. I was on it was when the night we're playing Houston. I'm on the elevator at the Marriott in downtown Kansas City, and I'm standing there talking to some Houston fans, and TJ gets on the elevator. So he's standing right in front of me. He's not talking to anybody. It's like, 2 or 3 hours before the game. He's not talking to anybody. We go down the floor. Curtis gets on the elevator, and he's got his headphones on, so I know he's zoning out. And then the guy starts talking about Iowa State to me, and then says something about our coach while TJ's on the elevator. I said, yeah, we love him and all this kind of stuff. And so then the doors open and Curtis and him get off. And I said, good luck today, coach. And the guy looks at me and I said, yeah, that's our coach right there. So the Houston fan I had no idea who TJ was. It was so funny. TJ had the same look in his face that he has on the sidelines. It was like he was ready for a UFC fight. But it was The Big 12 tournament's a great time, but I'm hoping we can figure out a way to get in the Midwest region. I'm hoping we get the Sweet 16 in Indianapolis, because if it's in Indianapolis, there's going to be a lot of Iowa State fans there.
Yeah, there are. And I want Michigan State in the Elite Eight in Indy, and I want to beat them by 50.
Right.
Circling back to K-State, though, the thing is with them, there are mentally tough teams, and then there's K-State. If we get up early, they will quit and start yelling at each other, and we all know the Jerome Tang. There are some coaches that have it, and then there's Jerome Tang. So I think if we get up early, and we should have a bunch of people in like spy attire sitting behind the K-State bench to see if we can still score times
or magnifying glasses. Like
That's actually that's a pretty good idea. So yeah, I just want us to. I don't want to mess around. I don't want it to be stressful. Let's just beat them by 20, and then get our guards some rest.
That's what we need to have to do. The guy that calls himself Cyclone Jim Carrey or whatever his name is.
I love that guy.
He needs to find a magnifying glass that is like a foot diameter, and he will be on TV constantly if he brings that into Hilton. That would be so funny.
That guy is awesome. I mean, that guy, he's always in like a different colored shirt than the rest of the crowd, and you can see him because he's always standing up, getting the crowd going. Which shout out to Cyclone.
I think he likes being on TV a little bit too, just a little bit maybe.
I mean, but he's great. He's only good for Iowa State. And
right. Yeah, I mean, it's hilarious. But, well, hey, we probably had to wrap this up pretty quick. Any other thoughts on we want to put the Arizona game to bed and start focusing on the Hawkins show coming into town on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, it won't take much of the crowd to get going because Hawkins is going to do something annoying in the first 2 minutes, and then he's going to.
If you guys weren't paying attention, this kid that we're going to see on Saturday played for Illinois. Yeah, and he was kind of a dink when we were playing him then, and I don't think he's any different. I mean, so
now he just has $2 million more. So
right, exactly. So yeah, go out and find the magnifying glasses, and then I can take credit for it next week.
All right, what do you think we win by 20 Saturday?
I have no idea. I mean, I hope it's double digits the majority of the game.
Yeah.
But and the other side of it too is though, if we come out and play like we did against Arizona, it will be. But then, since we are tired, teams have a tendency to take the foot off the gas when they're like that. And if we let Kansas State hang around at all, we just need to do what we did to UCF and just take their will. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And luckily, I think our defense is never going to let up as long as TJ is around. And anytime that happens, I like our chances.
Yeah, and Hilton's a good place to break a slump. So I mean, if we get Heisey hit, if Heisey hits 2 threes, that place is going to go insane.
And the students are back.
Yeah.
So that's a big one. So please, I mean, it's so frustrating to me if you're listening to this thing and you've got friends that have season tickets and they can't go, give the damn tickets to somebody. If you can't sell them, who cares? Get some butts in the seats because the Kansas game, I saw pockets of 4 seats that were empty at a time that people weren't there. We need no empty seats in that place. I mean, I've got season tickets. You and I do together, and my goal is to never have our seats empty the rest of the way out. And I'm going to find somebody to take them one way or the other. I mean, there's not a bad seat in that place. We are in what row are we in? 13
and 18.
And there's not a bad seat in that place. So don't be too arrogant to sit in the balcony. If you can't get a ticket, take the free tickets and get that place filled up the rest of the way out. I know it's sold out, but we need the actual people to be there.
Yeah, and the weather's supposed to be nice too, so it should be a good day to watch.
Yeah,
watching basketball.
Yeah, so give us a good rating. Follow us on Spotify or Apple, soundsounders.com if you want a shirt. I might even bring a couple. As a whiteout, I might bring a couple shirts into Hilton with me too and give them away in our section if I've got them with me. But again, congrats to Thomas being voted the number 4 podcast in sports podcast in Iowa. A pretty cool deal, and support him any way you can. The best way you can support us is just tell people about us and give us a listen when you're driving to the game. So, and we're gonna try to do this a little more consistently, maybe over the next couple of weeks. Because I told you guys, we got to do this because this is the funnest basketball season that we can remember in a long time.
Yeah, for sure.
So, all right, go Cyclones.
Go Cyclones.